Okay, going live. We're going to talk today about something that I've been talking about actually earlier today, and that's been asked of me a lot, actually a few times today. Big shout out to my friend Charles for reminding me about it today on our call. But I've been asked over the last few months dozens and dozens of times. This has to be one of the most popular, common questions that I ever get asked, which is when it comes to social media, what's more important to build, a business brand or a personal brand? Because everyone seems to be confused around the topic of, hey, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a small business owner, I want to use social media. Do I build it personally on my profile under my name, my face, or do I build from my company? So essentially, do I build, Joe's Plumbing Co. as my social media presence, or do I just be Joe the plumber and build that brand? So we're going to kind of go through that today and might take some proof, some examples of why I think I've come to the right answer. And so I can put this kind of debate to rest. So I don't have to answer it anymore. And every time someone asks me, I'm just going to refer them back to this video. So this is kind of really the purpose, hence why I'm probably doing this when everyone's driving home. But we're going to answer that question. We're going to figure out personal brand versus business brand and what makes the most sense, put the debate to rest, and then you'll have a reference. And I'll have a reference, most importantly, so I don't have to answer the question anymore. So here's my thoughts, personal brand versus business brand. In 2019, I truly believe this is going to be the turnaround year where personal brands exceed business brands in terms of effectiveness, power, and authority. What that means is I think businesses are all going to be built, all new businesses going forward are going to be built on the backs of personal brands, meaning individuals who hold individual authority, have a lot of following, get a lot of attention, who are trusted, and then who drive their attention to their business. That's what I believe, and others believe, like Gary Vee and Tai Lopez, believe is going to be kind of the future of business. And we're already going there. I think 2019 is going to be the first year, because it's already been happening, but 2019 is going to be the first year that we really see this, where it's going to be almost not impossible, but you're going to be at a severe disadvantage in 2019 going forward if you don't have a personal brand. Not just if you're an entrepreneur, but if you're even in a career and you're trying to elevate in your career. The way this is starting to work is like if I own a real estate brokerage, for example, and I want to promote somebody or I want to hire a VP of sales, two people apply, same credentials, same experience, but one has 100,000 followers in the local marketplace. That guy's my VP of sales. 100%, hands down, right? If I'm an athletic apparel company and I'm hiring for a whatever, just regular, even if it's just a role in the warehouse at an athletic apparel company, and I'm going to hire two people, same credentials, same age, same schooling, same everything, but one has 100,000 Instagram followers. I'm hiring him or her, right? So it's not just for business owners or entrepreneurs. It's even in your career. We're getting to a point in the world where if you're not known, you're going to suffer for it. You're going to be penalized for it. You're definitely going to feel it because attention is now everything. People are judging you now, not just on your car or your house or your clothes. They're judging you by your presence on social media. That's how they determine how important you are. Whether it's entrepreneur or business or in your career, people determine your level of importance by your following. I know it sounds terrible, but take it in. We'll see in 5 years, this is going to sound a lot more normal, but it's just what it's becoming. I know a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners that run very big companies who are actually looking at social media first. They get resumes, they don't even read it. They copy and paste the name into LinkedIn and Facebook, and they find the prospect. And whoever has the best presence, the most following, often cases wins that role, because that's just how it plays out. Now in business, in the business application, because that's in your career, in the business world, the person who gets seen the most wins. It's always been that way. But now we just have a different way to do it. So if I sell tires and you sell tires, but 100,000 people follow my content every single day for the last 2 years, know my life, my dog, my family, my business, my morals, my ethics, in their mind, when they think tires, they're thinking of me, not you. It doesn't matter if you have better tires than I do. I mean, I'm always going to say the best marketing is build a better product, but in reality, it's coming down to influence these days, right? Now, you have to have a good product because they won't buy from you twice if it's a terrible product. But the point is, in making that initial decision, influence outweighs almost everything. And the tables finally turned this year. That's why I'm doubling down on my personal brand. You're seeing content from me every single day on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter. I'm doing that for a reason because, yeah, it takes quite a bit of time. But the amount of new business we've been generating just from my organic posts and stories on Instagram and Facebook have been well worth it. And so that's why I wanted to share this message so that you can have the same success that I've been having recently and you don't miss out, because it's one of those things that if you don't catch this boat soon, it's going to sail right past, right? So I want you guys to understand that personal brand is going to be the way to go. Now, just to further prove that point, it's not just for career or entrepreneurs or small business owners. Look at even massive brands, like billion-dollar brands. Look at Apple. Who do you think of? Steve Jobs, right? He was the innovator, the face, the creativity, the vision. When you think of the Virgin Group, the Virgin brands, like whatever it is, like Virgin Airlines or Virgin Mobile, you think of Virgin as Richard Branson. You think Richard Branson, crazy, quirky guy who was on the cover of a magazine with a naked girl in his back, surfing down somewhere in his private island. You think of Richard Branson, he's the face. You think of Tesla, you think Elon Musk, right? So even these huge billion-dollar brands, if you really think about it, although they have their own standalone marketing, and I'll talk about that in a second, they're driven in large part by the PR and the attention and authority of those founders or authority figures in the media. They're influencers. It's their influence. It's personal brand influence, right? If Elon Musk tweets the wrong tweet, it's like the stock price shoots down. If he tweets the right tweet, the stock price shoots up. That's the power of it. Ravim, what's going on, brother? We can't make our call work, but I can make the live work. We should just talk here. It'll be easier. But I think Ravim would agree with me that personal brands are definitely driving business in 2019 and forward. They're becoming more important than ever. And a lot of people agree. Gary Vee would definitely agree. Ravim, I know, is going to agree. He's probably the one putting all these emojis right now. That's what's pushing everything. And I don't care if you're a student or you're building a career or you're building a business. It doesn't matter. Personal brand is invaluable. And I want to drill it into you today because those of you who don't get it are going to miss out. And I hope that even if just 1, 2, or 3 of you are actually listening and do something about it, and I'll tell you what you can do and how you can actually capitalize. But if you guys miss out, you're going to miss out. So if I can get a few of you to get it and actually do it, it'll change your year, right? So the reason why this is so effective, I'll break it down. So you have 2 options. Now, given all the time and resources in the world, do both. Build a business brand and marketing strategy that builds the business on its own and build a personal brand. That's fine. I'm not saying you have to kill company brands. You can still have company brand. That's important. I'm just saying if you have to choose one and you can only do one, do personal brand. So I'll give you the reasons why. 1, not only is it because of the reasons I mentioned, which is business is driven by personal brand, but 2, people connect with people. No one goes on Instagram to follow, Joe's Plumbing Co. But they'll go to Instagram to follow Joe if they like Joe. Like we go on social media to follow people. We follow people, not companies. I follow Gary Vee. I don't follow VaynerMedia. Right? I follow Elon Musk. I don't follow Tesla. I don't follow SpaceX. I follow Richard Branson. I don't follow any of the Virgin companies. So that's a huge advantage right there is people go on social media to connect with people. So that's the first or the second, I guess, reason why the personal brands are going to be so powerful. The third reason that maybe you've never thought about in terms of why personal brands are so powerful is they transcend your business activities. Meaning, let's say you put all your effort into building Joe's Plumbing Co. social media presence. And then Joe's Plumbing Co. goes under, and next month the business closes down. You spent money, time, energy, content that's now garbage. You can't really repurpose that. But if you build your personal brand and the company goes down, you still have all that attention. So you'll never actually be in trouble because you'll just use the same attention to build your next business. You'll have momentum. So personal brand allows this flexibility that a lot of entrepreneurs need. Even if it's not about the company, your business going down and needing that flexibility, even if it's just like, you build all this presence around a particular product, and then you kind of pivot and have to go a different way, a different product, different service. You have that flexibility in your brand, right? Like in my brand, I'll push Suit Social, I'll push Social Academy, I'll push my podcast, I'll push my Obscurity to Authority brand, I'll push my private coaching, my social media coaching, marketing coaching. I'll do all these different things. If I'm speaking at an event, I'll push my events. I have this flexibility because as an individual, it's expected that I'm complex, right? Like if you have a friend, that friend has different interests, different things they talk about. It's easy to follow. When you have one brand in business, you kind of have to keep in line with that business, those products, those services, right? So major benefit in terms of effectiveness, in terms of flexibility, in terms of like all sorts of things that just the personal brand way outweighs business brand if you have to choose one. Now, I was talking with somebody about this today, a real estate investor friend of mine who's also a developer, and he was asking me the same question, like should he build a personal brand or an investment brand? He's relatively successful. He's known already as it is in the Southern Ontario area as a developer. And he wants to know, he wants to get on social media. He doesn't really want to sell anything. He just wants that authority. He wants to have people kind of seeing him and seeing what he's up to. And hopefully that leads to finding more deals or money or whatever it is. And he asked me, well, if I build a personal brand and then I want to sell my development company, like real estate development, not like apps, like land development. He's like, if I build my personal brand and that's what's driving business to my development company, what happens when I want to sell the development company, right? And my answer is this: it's totally fine. It's totally separate, because you're an individual and you're just saying, hey, I have all this attention. You like me. Here's me. By the way, I have this company. Go check it out. By the way, my company did this work. But the company doesn't just depend on just that. You can still later, once you make money and you have more options, I'm not saying you have to only do personal brand forever, right? Like me, I have a team. I have my own staff, and one of them runs all of our social media, right? She runs our Instagram, our Facebook, our LinkedIn. So that's her role. And then that lets me focus on this stuff for my personal brand. So once you have the time and the money and you have a team, or you can even hire a virtual assistant or whatever it is, once you can do that, have both. Because yes, every company should still have its own marketing plan, its own way to generate leads. But the point is, if you can build a personal brand first, that's a very powerful, much cheaper way, much more effective way to drive leads, sales, attention, eyeballs to your business. But that doesn't mean you can't sell the business after. It's not dependent on you. You're just helping it. Just like if you hire, a promoter to promote you, the business doesn't need that promoter, but it helps, right? Just like big brands like Beats by Dre will pay Conor McGregor to wear their headphones to promote it, but they don't need Conor. They have other strategies, but it helps, right? So that's why for me, if you're a new entrepreneur or a small business and you're starting, start with a personal brand. If you're an established company that already has a social media presence for the company, keep that running, but start a personal brand as well, right? Because the benefits are just ridiculous. Like you can't ignore them, right? So it's funny because Raveen was just commenting, a friend of mine, he actually owns an agency in the States. He was just saying in the comments, if you guys can read that, he says, also, even if you start another business down the road, your personal brand is still there. He said that right as I was saying it. So like, he's an expert as well. He does very well in this field. This is all he does. And he's giving you the same advice I'm giving you, right? So there's something to that. Gary Vee has been saying the same thing. And he's a guy who built a $150 million marketing empire at this point, who's also built one of the most profitable personal brands in business world, period, with over 2-point-something million YouTube followers, millions of Instagram followers. So that's a guy who's invested deeply. He's old school, like you, right? He's in his 40s, 50s. He's not like a young guy, millennial. So don't just start saying, oh, it's for millennials, it's not for me. And if you have issues with being on camera, filming yourself, that's fine. You got to work through them. It's like any skill. When I started video, I was uncomfortable, but I got through it, right? So ultimately, the advice I'm trying to give you is personal brand wins. If you're going to choose one, personal brand wins. If you already have a business brand, keep it, but also build a personal brand. That's it. Like, that's it, period. That's the way you're going to go about it, right? If you guys have any more questions, if you don't agree, let me know. Comment below. Let me know what you think about it. And also, if you are doing it, let me know in the comments what you're doing. Are you going to be building a personal brand this year? Are you not building a personal brand? Are you going to build a business brand? Am I right? Am I wrong? I want to know, right? Tag a friend who needs to hear this. Tag a friend who's going to be building a personal brand. We need to share this because I honestly believe this is the turning point, 2019. This is it. Businesses are going to be built on personal brands. So if you have an entrepreneur friend or business friend, or even someone in a job, like I said, even if you're in a career position, you'll be favored. You'll get jobs easier and you'll climb ranks faster if you have your own influence. It's like an extra credential. People don't think that, but believe me, I have my whole circle of friends as business owners. We all talk about hiring. We all talk about how we look at people, what process we bring them through. We care what your presence looks like on social media, right? Especially if it's a sales position, right? So think that through. It doesn't matter, career, business, entrepreneur, it's gonna be important. So 2019, make the year you build your personal brand. Let me know what you're gonna be building. I wanna see it in the comments. By the way, my buddy Josh is right there. How's it going, Josh? Josh is also becoming an expert at building his personal brand, expert videographer here in the Toronto area. He's a genius. Ravim, I doubt Gary touches any Vayner money, likely lives off speaking fees. Oh, for sure. Gary Vee has a $150 million agency, and I guarantee you he pays himself probably $1 a year. But because his personal brand is so big, his speaking fee, because we were inquiring to get him at an event. I don't know if we might get him or not still. It's still being negotiated, but we were trying to get him at an event, and his speaking fee was well over $100,000. I won't say the exact number, but he's well over $100,000 pre-negotiation. I don't know if we can get that down, but he speaks, if you pay attention, like every week. So he's easily bringing in a 7-figure income just speaking. So his personal brand funds a 7-figure lifestyle for himself, while his agency, his 9-figure agency, can sustain and keep growing and retain profits. So there's so many benefits to the value and the power of that personal brand. even just opportunities. Like I got 2 speaking opportunities offered to me last week. One was to University of Toronto, and one was on a really interesting business podcast that I've been following for a little while, just from them watching content, right? And I speak, if anyone knows me, you know how much I speak at events, and we're even like trying to reduce the amount of events because I don't have the time and there's a lot of energy. But a lot of opportunities come to me because of the personal brand. Invitations, collaborations, meetings, speaking, podcasts, that all comes to me because of people seeing my content online. And there's big value to that, right? So 2019, build a personal brand. Comment below. Let me know what you're going to be doing, what you're working on. If you need help, you have questions. If you want support, if you want to work with me as someone from a coaching perspective to help you guide through that, if you need an agency to help manage it for you, wherever your stage is, if you want help, reach out to me directly and we'll see what we can do. But other than that, comment below. Just let me know what you're working on. I want to hear about it. Let me know if you agree or disagree. And I'll leave it at that. Have a great Tuesday. That's my Tuesday teaching moment. Hopefully you found some value in it. Like I said, share it with a friend. Share this on your page. People need to see this. This is the definitive answer. I'm ending the debate. Personal brand wins. Have a great Tuesday.